minced garlic, and I will take the garlic. My kids always ask me, Dad, why do you do this the last minute? And I said, well, son, daughters, it's because the night before I was busy packing lunches. And when you're busy packing lunches the night before, the next thing you want to do is just go to bed. So what I usually do is get up early in the morning, get the crock pot started, because I know I can get this all done as I'm taking them to school. So that's why I tell my son why I'm always at the last minute, because I'm too busy doing all the other things to keep that house going. Anyways, enough of that. So I take my garlic, which is 1/4 cup garlic, 1/4 cup garlic, measuring spoon, and I am just going to lightly rub that on top and on the bottom. So now I have completely seasoned the meat. Looks good? I hope so. It's going to turn out great. Take my crock pot, bring it over here or over here. Here's better. Get rid of some trash, clear some space. Now place the seasoned meat into the crock pot. Remove messy cutting board. Slide crock pot center stage. Now I'll explain this later, but what I'm going to do next is I now have to take my screen and back it up just a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my whisker and my soups. Drop in my French onion, my second French onion, if anyone has a great French onion recipe, I'd like to know it, because I love French onion, especially with the 3 or 4 different cheeses on it, like in a crock pot kind of. I need to know that. If you guys have that out there, let me know. Or girls. I've got my beef broth. Dropped into here. Dropped into there. And I have cornstarch. Why do we use cornstarch? Because it's in the recipe. No. The reason why we use it is because it helps thicken the soup, stew type of texture you want in your crock pot stew. That's why it's called stew. We're not having crock pot soup. We're having crock pot stew. So let's take a look at the request for 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. So let's just take the cornstarch. There's 1. And I'm going to, what am I doing? Whisking. Because I have a whisker. I'm going to take my second one and drop that in. I'm whisking. This is what whisking is all about. Okay, so this is the color we have. It's kind of light brown. Don't worry, it's going to darken once it cooks. So this is going to thicken to a nice stew-like texture. Drop the juices, the stew juice, into the crock pot. What's next? Well, according to the map here, vegetables. So, important part. Depending on the type of vegetables you like and the time you've got, you can drop the packaged vegetables right now and head off to work or go to bed, whichever way you're going to do the stew. If you like more softer vegetables and you have about 3 to 4 hours before eating time, you can drop the vegetables late, because they definitely soften up in the stew and sometimes they disintegrate. If you're cooking potatoes, I took about 2 potatoes and I cubed them. My kids love potatoes, so I throw it into the stew with the stew meat, because it needs the full 6 hours of cooking time. So I drop my potatoes in and around the meat like this. Oh, and by the way, I forgot. Worcestershire sauce. I didn't have the steak sauce, so I'm just going to use Worcestershire sauce. So that was approximately what I needed to do with the Worcestershire. Read the directions in the recipe. I just improvised. Okay, so now I have potatoes in the crock pot. I pushed them down next to the meat. The meat's happy, the potatoes are happy, now the vegetables are going to be happy. I top off my stew with the vegetables. More broccoli, please. More broccoli. There we go. So now I have the entire crock pot menagerie going on right now. And what I'm going to do next is set the timer, which plugging it in helps. And I want it on a low setting. I want it for 6 hours. If I'm not home in 6 hours, it's okay. It'll be on low or in simmer if you have a timer. And you're not going to ruin the meat. Trust me. Crock pot stew is the easiest thing because it also creates great leftovers. Because at the end of the day, when you're done with the meal, the meat, it's roast beef. So now you have roast beef sandwiches. You can make shredded beef tacos. You've got leftovers just the way it is. I've done everything from adding crushed tomatoes, steak sauce, which I forgot today. I've also added carrots. I've actually dropped a can of pinto beans into it. There's so many varieties to the crock pot stew. Stick to this recipe, and I know you'll enjoy it. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. And why? Okay, we're back. Sorry for the delay, mechanical failure, malfunction, whatever we want to call it. The reason why we went off is because I found something, and I wanted to make sure I was consistent with my recipe. And lo and behold, I found my steak sauce. Sorry, everyone. You got to be in the stew because it just adds the accent that we all need. So, according to my recipe, half a cup A1, half a cup Worcestershire, whisker, whisking, add to the rest of the stew, and voila! Set the crock pot 6 hours. And don't worry about the timer, guys or girls. 6 hours, all you need. Put the lid on it. You're done. You ready for work? You ready to go to bed? Do it at night, do it in the morning. Crock pot stew. Can't wait to hear your feedback and your comments on this video. Thank you very much.